Hello, and welcome to the Hot Pink Pod, the official mini podcast of the Alpha Omega Lambda Sorority Incorporated. This is where, of course, we celebrate sisterhood and shine a light on the causes that matter most to us. This year, that includes something that's deeply important to us, which is mental health and emotional wellness. So today, we are joined by Pat Sims, who is a licensed clinical therapist and founder of PDS Wellness in the Detroit, Michigan area to talk about seasonal affective disorder, how it affects Black women, how to recognize the signs, and what we can do to care for ourselves during these darker months. So, if you guys would please help me welcome to the stage my friend and um, clinical therapist extraordinaire, Pat. I keep saying Pat Sims, but Pat Brown. Uh,
Thank you, Camille. Thank
oh, my
you.
pleasure. Welcome, welcome. Could you introduce yourself to our audience, give them an idea of who they're talking to, and then we'll start
Yes.
diving into the subject?
Alrighty. I am Patricia Sims Brown. Both names are still floating around here in Michigan. I am a licensed professional counselor. I have been practicing for over 10 years. And I'm glad you asked me to speak on this topic because I'm not only a supporter and advocate for mental wellness, but on this particular topic, I'm also a club member. So I am well versed with this topic that we're going to discuss today.
Awesome. I'm so glad you said that you were a club member because as we were talking in the studio before, I had no idea that SAD, which is the acronym for it, even existed. I just thought, oh, it's just depressed. It's cold outside because we live in Michigan and it's
Right,
cold.
right.
It's dark and it's snowy and all the things. But when I happened to stumble upon, and actually it was in White Spaces, and they were
Mm-hmm.
talking about this disorder, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
area talking about what is this? And then when
Mm-hmm.
I gathered more information and was able to take it to my physician, she started sharing, oh yes, it could be this and it could be this and this. These are some of the things you can do. And I'm like, why you ain't lead with that?
Right,
But
exactly.
that's kind of the purpose of today's conversation is to kind of arm you with information. So if you notice some of the things that we're going to be talking about today, you can take that information to your physician. And before we dive into the questions, there is a disclaimer that is scrolling on the screen because I want you to know that the information and the discussion that we're having today is for informational purposes only. It's not to diagnose you. It's to arm you with the information you need to take to your mental health or your physical care provider and arm yourself with information to possibly work as a partnership with those providers to diagnose something that may be going on with you. So,
Mm-hmm.
Pat, let's just jump in. So, for those who aren't familiar, can you give us an idea of exactly what SAD is and why is it different than just typical depression or, as they say, the winter blues?
Okay, so let's give the clinical term seasonal affective disorder, and we'll go forward. We're calling it SAD.
Okay.
So it's a form of recurrent depression that follows a seasonal pattern. So mostly appearing in the fall and winter months when the daylight is shorter. Um, it's not just simply feeling down or what we call the winter blues. It's really a disruption in our serotonin and melatonin.
Mm,
And it all impacts our mood, our energy, our sleep, and absolutely motivation. Um, Sad can occur any time of the year because I've
mm,
heard it like extending over into summer. So some people
mhm.
suffer from seasonal depression in summer, but it specifically cycles with the seasons and typically um, regulates when the sunlight increases significantly and it is a legitimate health condition. I had a running joke with my friends, like if we didn't hang out in the summer, I'll see you guys in the spring because I knew that that was when I buckled down. I consider myself having been a bear in a former life. Like I go in
Mhm.
hibernation,
Hibernate.
but
Mhm.
yeah, but Actually, that's when I started to pay attention to the symptoms having more frequently. And as I got older, the symptoms also were more intense. So that's something that
Mm.
we need to pay more attention to.
So, why do you think that this disorder, given that it probably flows on a pattern, as you said,
Hmm.
how is
Hmm.
it so often misdiagnosed in our community, or why don't more people know about it, particularly in our community?
So I would say, particularly in our community, is being able, there are biases in the medical field. And
Mhm.
so when we don't have a safe space to talk about what we're feeling, or someone who can kind of relate to it, it can be someone who's not familiar with us culturally would just take
Mm.
the blanket way of diagnosing it and just call it depression, or just call it you're burnt out, or you're not getting enough sleep, or start to ask us about our substance use. That's a big one. What kind of substance are you using? It's like, I'm not using anything. I'm trying
Right.
to,
What time do you
stay
stop drinking coffee? And
Yes, yes,
you're like, dog, it's
yes.
not coffee. Right.
Yes, right. Because caffeine, could be,
Yes.
yes,
Sure.
it's a substance. So they're like, how many Pepsis are you drinking? How much coffee are
Hmm.
you drinking? So it can just kind of be overlooked, blanketed, and then we may feel unheard, and we
Yeah.
shut down, and then we
Yep.
turn back inward. And so it's like, why are we, talking about it? So me and my strong black womanness,
Hmm.
I'm just gonna try to push through, and or pray it away. You're not praying hard enough, or yes, So yes, we have to be more trusting. You're not trusting, so we just shut down, turn back inward, and then it's never diagnosed properly.
So, what are some of the early signs or signals or patterns? What things start happening that may indicate that this disorder is at play?
Um, Increased sleep. And because we might think that I just want to be under the covers, just warm and cuddle under the covers. So it may be
Ooh.
increased sleep, low motivation. I don't have the energy or the wherewithal to do the activities that I used to like to do, or I was doing in the summer. Um,
Ooh.
Feeling emotionally heavy, or even drained or disconnected. Those are symptoms as well. I don't have the bandwidth to go out. I don't go have the bandwidth to gather with my friends, and then it turns into isolation, irritability, and then of course, in the colder months, what we want to do, we want comfort food. We start to crave carbs
Yep.
and sugar. And then what better time of the year to have carbs and sugar than around Thanksgiving and Christmas?
Thanksgiving, Christmas. Hmm.
Right. So the difference is the duration and the pattern. So if these symptoms reappear at the same time each year, that's an indicator that there's something that you may need to talk to your physician about, or even your mental health clinician or professional to recognize these patterns. And I always tell anyone, you can try to remember, and I always use air quotes. You can try to remember what you're going through, but I absolutely recommend using your journal if you're a journaler,
Hmm.
to kind of write down how you've been feeling, how you have not been sleeping or increased sleep. Your planner, maybe jot down, slept 8 hours, wanted to go back to sleep, kind of hyper sleeping.
I like
Um,
that.
yeah,
I'm
and
writing this
then,
stuff down
or
like I'm
just,
not gonna be able to
yeah,
hear it again.
and write it down in that planner, in that journal, and just so you can identify the intensity, the duration, and the frequency of these symptoms.
That's powerful because I didn't start noticing it, like you said, until I really started paying attention to what was going on and when. And I was
Hmm.
attributing it to so many different things until I
Hmm.
finally got my arms around it. And now I use an app. I'm a avid journaler though, so
Okay.
that's one piece of it. But I also use an app, and it's called How We Feel, and it really helps me to determine. It gives you all of these different adjectives to help you describe how you feel at a particular moment and what was going on during that time, so I can
Okay.
better document what was
Mm-hmm.
happening. And I'll put that link or information in the YouTube explanation, so if anybody's interested in looking that up, you can do that. But what are other simple things or simple strategies that we can incorporate to kind of battle that those symptoms?
Okay, so the answer to that is to consistency. Consistency is key. Because some people try a thing like your app. I love that there's an app for that. I'm old
Mm-hmm.
school, so I'm like, give me a pen and paper. So,
I know.
um, yeah. So, if you're gonna use your app.
You're good.
Oh, okay. If you're going to use your app, be consistent with it. Making sure that you're recording often as you need to. The lack of sunlight is our issue. So if you can get up in the morning when the sun first comes out, um, try to be in that sunlight for about 10 minutes. It makes a
Hmm.
huge difference to help regulate your internal clock. Movement. So because we're more stationary in the colder months here in Michigan, movement is vital. So if you just stretch, take a brisk walk, brisk not meaning fast, but I should have said brief, a brief walk, 5, 10 minutes a day, or just simply dance in your living room, dining room, basement, and that's going to help you release endorphins. So we want to be mindful of our food intake because we're craving the sugars, we're craving the carbs, making sure that you're eating foods rich in vitamin D and your omega
All
3s will
right, I
hold
think
me.
that's the end of the show right
I
there.
know, right?
Like, oh,
We have to, and
absolutely right.
that's being intentional.
Yeah, because
And
you're
then,
mindlessly eating. You're not
mhm.
even thinking about it.
No, and you're eating these heavy foods and you're moving less. So
Mm,
let's kind of check that. Even keeping a food journal. Okay, I've eaten 2 loaves of banana bread this week, but I've only done 10 minutes of cardio or
mm-mm,
stretching to right. It's so off
mm-hmm,
balance. Um, there's something simple, something easy that maybe you can even do in those 10 minutes in the morning in the sunlight. I believe the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. I believe
mm-hmm,
that's how it goes. So if you can get to the east side of your house and that's where you do your mindfulness, if
mm,
you're into yoga, you're journaling or you're planning for the day or the week, you can do that in the 10 minutes. You can sip your tea or coffee in that 10 minutes, or you can engage in your prayer time to your higher power. But with all of these things that I mentioned, whether it be the movement, the mindfulness of the eating, or the simple task of journaling or being mindful, consult with your physician first.
right. Absolutely.
And that way, you're going to make sure that there's no underlying issues.
See.
So, even if your iron is low, or even if your vitamin D is low, those are huge components with managing a good mood. So, you want to talk
That,
to your physician.
I'm glad you went there, because the next thing I was going to ask you is, at what point do we stop trying to push through on our own and seek to get the help that we need?
Get an annual checkup.
Come on.
I used to do mine in March because that's how my birthday fell, and that will be my reminder that I got to do all these doctor's appointments. But since I've identified and know that I have seasonal affective disorder, my doctor's appointments are in July now, so that I'll know where I'm at before I even go into the season. So I know where my vitamin D levels are. I know where my iron is. And if it's not that, okay, so let's move on to something else because I'm already aware of what's working right. So I can start to focus on other areas.
I like that. I like that. And I like that you are intentional about when your appointments are too.
Yes,
Because the time of year, because I always think, oh, I need to have it at the beginning of the year. It's like, well, no, let's prepare for winter at the
yes.
near the end of summer. So I
Hmm.
like that. So how do you think, or do you think that, um, community or sisterhood, and I know that you're in an amazing
Hmm.
sisterhood group as well. Um, how do you think that being in community like that helps with these types of disorders? What does that support do for somebody that's going through those things, especially people like us who would prefer to hibernate while we're going through
Yes. Yes, and I love my sisterhood. Shout out to Ladies League of Detroit. Our sisterhood, in any community that you create offers accountability. So when
it?
you're in
Hmm.
the house hibernating, they're like, no, Camille, come on out. Let's go to the movies. You need some fresh air. Have you moved today? Let's go walk around the block. So they offer joy, perspective. They're going
Yeah.
to straighten your crown, as we like to say. You're eating too many carbs, sis. What's going on?
No.
So are
Hmm.
you being mindful? So even with the accountability piece, you can share with someone that's close to you, someone who will hold you accountable, that you trust and feel safe. And you can say, hey, these are the things that I'm working on, and I want you to make sure that I am accountable to meet these goals. Even if it's just from this month to that month,
Yep.
you have an idea. And so healing in community is sacred, is very important. I know personally when Black women gather, um, whether it's a group or in church or therapy groups, we create an environment that is affirming
Yeah.
and it sustains emotional wellness. So we don't have to worry about if we're being judged. Um, are we just kind of different because we are who we are? So sharing stories transforms silence. So someone sitting right
Yeah.
next to you might be like, "Oh, I didn't know you were going through
You
that.
went.
I'm going through that. Yes, I thought I
Yeah.
was the only person. I thought I was crazy. I thought I was, sis, it's what it is, and you're not in this alone. There's nothing new under the sun. But
That's right.
because again, we don't have those affirming spaces, even in the medical field, we tend to shut down and turn inward. And so community is there for you to be able to have a safe space to open up and share and not feel like an outsider.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate the accountability piece because we had a situation where we had a sister who wasn't showing up in her normal way, and
Yeah.
people got concerned, and we really got involved to find out, where she was, what's going on, and to make sure that she was okay. And I'm sure she probably, in retrospect, thought that was intrusive, but I hope what it did was let her know that we cared about her and that we
Yes.
cared enough to go the extra mile to make certain that she was okay. And the same would be true in accountability pieces. Like you said, it's like, you ain't been outside all week.
Yep.
What's going on?
Hmm.
Let's go to the park. Let's go to the mall. Let's hit the show, whatever. And
Hmm.
having people that are in your community and in your circle that are paying enough attention to you to know
Yes.
those things. I mean, that's invaluable. And I think Black women do it better than almost anybody. First of all, because
Yes.
we nosy. But secondly, but
Yes.
first of all, because we
It's
nosy.
a gift.
It's a gift. But
Yes.
secondly, because we care.
Yes.
You matter. And so I'm really grateful that we were able to tie that in. So I'm going to yield to you. If there are any last thoughts that you want to share, and if there's somebody that's watching this right now who isn't sure but think that they might be going through this, any last pieces of advice you have for them, and also how people can get in touch with you and what services you offer.
Okay. Well, first of all, if you think that you're going through this, you are not alone. This is universal. It affects men, women, in all walks of life, in all social economic levels. So if you have questions, seek your physician or seek a mental health professional so that you can get more clarity on your own personal situation. Um, let's see, I can be reached at www.pdswellnessllc.com, one whole word. I am currently seeing individuals. I do one-on-one. My the demographic of individuals I see are adults ages 18 and up. Um, and let me see, what else would you want me to say? I am letting my book will be out, Camille. I was a week, I know, a
You
week
mentioned that.
shy. Yes, is it will be out this month, and it's called Rooted Season to Season, Thriving with S.A.D. And I'll circle back and I'll give you the link
Amazing.
to it. So hopefully you can put it in here and it'll live with this
Oh, we will. Yeah.
yeah, this interview.
And we'll definitely get some to share with our sisterhood as well. We definitely want to support. And now I just want to be clear because I know that you're in Metro Detroit, but you service people outside of that area virtually or primarily just in Detroit?
Yes, I am a virtual teletherapist and I serve all of Michigan. I have people on the west side of the state and as local as Detroit. That's with my private practice. I'm also a clinical supervisor over at Avalon Healing Center, which we cater to those who are survivors of human trafficking and sexual assault. So if you
Wow.
fall in that category, you can meet me there. So I'm here to help. And if I
Awesome.
can't help myself, I can refer you to someone who
That's it.
can.
I love that. Well, Pat, thank you so much. Stay in the studio. I will be right back with you. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's topic. As you see, this was absolutely important and critical for us to share because SAD is so unrecognized in our communities only because we aren't aware. And the more we know, the more we can help not only ourselves, but each other. And one of the important things that she shared too was to make sure that you contact your mental health provider or your healthcare physician and share with them your symptoms. But you can be now armed with this information to offer as a suggestion, as this might be something that you are facing or going through. I want to also remind you of the things that she shared about community, how important community is. And it's something that we say with Alpha Omega Lambda all the time is that this is not the time to do life alone. So get your community, whether it's us, whether it's the Ladies League of Detroit, whatever group it is that meets your sisterhood needs. Lean into your community, pay attention to your body, pay attention to your mood, pay attention to your energy. And if something feels off, reach out for support, whether it's a trusted friend in that community, a sister in your circle, or a licensed therapist. You deserve light and joy and peace in every season, regardless to what the sunshine is doing. And if all else fails, get you a sunlight lamp, which is what I have and what I use faithfully. So thank you for tuning in to the Hot Pink Pod. Until next time, take care of your heart, take care of your mind, and be careful to continue to sparkle and shine. We'll see you guys soon.